Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Urban Sentinel Show. And I'm your host, Reginald Kearney, welcoming you all back to the Urban Sentinel Live Show. I know we've been off for a minute and glad to be back tonight. Uh, but I have with me tonight my co host, Yonder. And I'm going to make a brief announcement when Yonder comes on. And then I'm going to be out of here, and it's going to be Yonder. Uh, Operating and doing the show tonight. So welcome, Yonder. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm looking at you. You looking good, man.
Well, I'm feeling good. I'm getting there every day. But the one reason I wanted to come on tonight, like I said, we have been off the air for a minute. And due to some health issues that I'm dealing with right now, I was contemplating on which way to go with the show. So I decided to create a position for a co-host. And Yonder is going to be the co-host. He's going to be operating the show from now to the end of the year. And might be after the end of the year too. And I might come on the other Tuesday nights, and I might let Yonder do two Tuesday nights, and I do two Tuesday nights. But I don't anticipate on coming back to the show until first of the year. I'm entrusting it with Yonder to keep things moving and uh, continue to help grow the show. And Yonder is a great guy. He's an author, written a lot of books and everything, and I've known him for years. I mean, probably about 20 some years I've known Yonder. So
Yes, sir.
uh, I'm gonna, give it into it, put it into his hands. I'm gonna leave him alone. We're gonna talk, but I'm gonna leave it alone. It's his to run, and it's gonna be his opportunity to uh, show his stuff. So Yonder is yours. Run with it, enjoy it, and we'll be talking. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Let me have this opportunity to shine on your platform.
Take care now, and we'll be talking. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good day, everyone. I am the current host of Urban Centennial. Reggie's going to take a sabbatical to next year, and I'm going to do something different. This is my format is a conversation with friends. I feel that everyone is my friend. I don't meet enemies. So I'm bringing on some friends here, some special friends, and we're going to talk about whatever they're doing from business wise to book wise to just living life. And we're just going to have a good time us talking about issues of life. So I am ready when you guys are ready. My first guest is Bianca Moore. She's going to come in today. My special guest was Treasure Blue. Treasure had an emergency, so he won't be here this week, but we'll keep him informed and keep him in our prayers. And we're going to keep on pushing on, like Reggie said, keep pushing through. Thank you so much. I'm ready for my first guest, Bianca Moore.
Hi.
Hello, hello. Let me give you some information about this young lady. This young lady right here, this is the craziest story I have among being an author for 21 years. This young lady, I met her. I know I didn't meet her at the book signing. She's supposed to be at a book signing I was doing in Charles County, Maryland, roughly 21 years ago. And she couldn't be at the book signing, so she asked the young lady who owned the beauty salon I was doing the book signing at. Hey, she said, "Can I get his phone number?" She got my phone number. We met at the dollar store, and she bought a book then. For probably 5, 6 years after, she would call me every time during Christmas and buy 5, 6, 7, 8 books. We became friends. And along the way, she started writing. Most people don't start writing after they read. They just be reading. I like your books. I like your book. She started writing, and her writing name is Bianca Moore. Beautiful young person, and she has a story to tell. And I have her as my guest today, and I want her to tell a story. So the floor is yours, Bianca.
Hello. What do you want to know? Or you want me to just go through a regular introduction?
Give me your introduction. Introduce yourself.
Introduce myself. Okay, so my name is Bianca Moore. I have known Yonder for 20, at least 20 years now, right?
Yep, I think it's probably been 21. That's my first book came out.
Yeah, like 20, yeah, I guess about 20 years. He's an awesome dude. He has become my writing mentor. He's become a really good friend. I call him my brother. Um, if it were not for him, I would not have wrote my first book. I wouldn't have pushed it out as quickly as I did, um, because I had been writing it for a long time, and I had just been procrastinating because I'm a little bit of a procrastinator. So I had just been kind of procrastinating on the book, and then I got some good advice from him, and his first words was, "Just go ahead and write it. Just write it." Uh, Yonder really pushes you to do things, even if you don't want to do it. And trust me when I tell you, if you tell him that you are working on something, he is going to ask you every single time that he sees you.
But I'm
Word.
gonna tell you. Let me stop you for a minute. I stopped that. I stopped that because
Did
really,
you?
really, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give you some real stats. Say, for instance, I've been writing for 21 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do 21 times, I meet at least 1,000 people a year, and that's probably a little number.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 21,000 people.
Yeah.
I only know. Let me see. 20 folks have actually took my advice. So that
Wow.
means 20,980 people didn't take it.
Wow.
Everybody else say I'm writing a book, I'm writing a book, I'm writing a book, but who really puts a book? I might know 20 authors that I've met along the way who've written their books since I've written mine. I know
Wow.
authors who have already had books out, but when I talk to folks, I'm gonna get it out. And it's even folks who stop speaking to me because when I see them on the subway in DC, they go that way. I'm like, what you tripping for? I ain't gonna mess with you about the book.
God.
So I don't even mess with nobody about the books no more. So go finish saying anybody, but I don't do it no more because
Oh,
it's either you gonna write or you're not. I can't make you right.
right. But it motivated me because I would literally see you in Target in Waldorf. I would be just
Yes.
getting my little stuff in Target shopping. Uh, and then the first thing you said, when the book out? When the book out? When you gonna finish? When you gonna finish book? When you gonna finish book? And I'm like, I'm working on it. I'm working on it, Yonder. I'm working on it. And so I said, the next time I see this man, I'm gonna finish this book. I said, I'm going to finish this book. Because at the time, when I was writing my book, I was a mom, I was a single mom. My son was in every freaking sport, and I was taking him from here to there, practices, games, and all this other stuff. And I just could never find the time to do it. And then in the midst of all of that, I was getting my bachelor's degree, my master's degree. So I was just trying to you know, put the priorities in place or whatever. So I finally did finish it. And when I called you that day and I said, Yonder, guess what? I finished it. And you was like, what? I was like, I finished the book. I finished the book. And you were so proud of me. And then
I'm
you
so
said,
proud of you.
thank
How many
you.
books you have out now?
I have two out.
So I'm even more proud of you
Yes, I have
because you didn't
two.
stop.
Yes, I didn't stop. I have two out and I'm working on two more. I have so much information in my head. Uh, how
And
us
talk about the
authors
little
are.
stories you're doing on Amazon and look them little clip. Which what do you call them?
So I was doing the little on Kindle. They had a Kindle Vella. They had a little thing where you could put, write little stories and you could release them, and you could just do episodes. But they stopped it. They don't do it anymore. But when I was doing it, it was called The Misadventures of Deja Monet, which was Deja Monet is my goddaughter actually. So I used the name, from her or whatever. And every episode I would share a story about the madness that I go through as a single woman dating in this crazy ass world.
Okay, we're gonna explore that in a little bit. We're gonna explore that a little bit. Tell us
Yes.
she's single, she educated, and she can't find a man.
And
But
these dudes play too much. So I was doing the little episodes about, the all my little dating adventures or whatever. And I got up to about 4 episodes, and then Kindle Vella decided that they weren't going to do it anymore. And I was like, oh my God. And I said, but it's okay. I can still write. But my first book that I finished, that Yonder pushed me to finish, It's called Is He All That? This book right here, y'all. This book
And,
right
and
here.
give it to us. Tell us what it's about. Tell us what it's about, sister.
Book
I
right
know what it's about,
here.
but tell everybody else what it's about.
Okay, so this is a book about a professional young lady who lives in the Washington D.C. area. You know, we call it the DMV. She's stepping you through all of her trials and tribulations, her experiences that she goes through on her different dating adventures. She has a couple of friends. Some are married, some are single. They have their own little dramas too, and she, outlines that in the book as well. Um, but it's really like a, kind of, it almost reads like a journal. So it has a lot of nice little tidbits in here. A lot of some adventures in here, on dating stories and whatnot. Uh, it's a really good read. I've had some people tell me that I cuss too much. So if you are sensitive and you got baby ears, don't read this. This ain't for the weak. Don't read it.
Well, let me put something on top of that. It's fire, y'all. I mean, I read it. I'm a reader first of all. Before I'm right, I'm a reader, and she writes fire, and there's some good stuff in it, and there's some good sex scenes in there. I'm gonna let you know. There's some good stuff in there. I'm just gonna let you know. She wouldn't call it erotic, but it's in there. She in there.
Man, let me tell you something about these sex scenes. I struggle writing about sex scenes because you are the erotic author over here. You're
That's just
the
in my mind. That's just in my
yeah.
mind.
You're the one that writes the good sex scenes. Your little sister be over here struggling trying to write these sex scenes, but I get through it. I get through it. So and then I collaborated with you and 88 other authors, was it?
Yes, I think it's 88. Yes, yes.
88
Talk
other
about that
authors.
one 'cause I don't talk about that book enough.
Yeah, this is called Joy Comes in the Morning. It's a 90-day devotional, and it's got 90 authors in here. I'm one of the authors. Yonder is one of the authors. So this is a more spiritual book. I know everybody's like,
So we
oh,
got Jesus and we got the freak. So
yeah, she
we give you both
cussing
of
in
them.
one book and praising Jesus in the other book.
If you're
Yeah,
looking for some Jesus, we got some Jesus and some joy in the morning. If you're looking
right,
for another one, something you want Bianca's Marvel book.
right. I'm human. I cuss, and I ain't gonna stop cussing. Yeah, but I'm still writing. I'm trying to push out two more books. I don't want to say too much about the other two books I'm working on. But they're going to be coming soon. But those are gonna also knock your socks off.
Give me your social media, and then we'll go into some more conversations. Give me your social media and everything so they can plug into what you're doing.
Well, I'm on Facebook under my government name. So so for those of y'all that don't know, my name is not Bianca Moore. That is my pen name. No, I'm not in the witness protection program. No, I'm not running from the cops.
So you don't have
Bianca.
to get out your government name. We'll later on we're going to give you our websites. We'll put it on the site. We're not giving out governments. If you don't want to get out government, we're not giving out governments, and I'm cool.
Yes. Yeah, we're it's okay. They can find me though on Facebook if they put author Bianca Moore in there. They'll
Okay,
find me.
that's how we'll
Um,
find you. And
they'll
Instagram
find me.
also,
I'm not on Instagram.
but you Facebook.
I am on TikTok though under love number two right. So it's love LOVE the number two right.
Oh, cool,
Love to
cool.
write. That's my TikTok name. I tell a lot of my dating stories on there. I talk a lot of shit on there about my dates. So if you want some comedy, you can go follow me on TikTok because I'm with all the shits.
Okay, well, I had not planned to do this part of the interview, but since you're making it so prevalent, tell us about your dating.
Oh gosh. My dating it sucks.
Okay, okay, young single woman,
It
highly
sucks.
educated, own everything, own car, own house, everything, and still
Yeah,
can't find a man.
and
So
still
you take
can't
it from
find.
there.
Don't that sound crazy?
You take it from there.
Um, so I was doing some dating apps. I had got off the dating apps for a while. And then my son encouraged me to go back on the dating apps. He was like, "Mom, you should try again. You should just go try again." You got to get the advice from the young people too. So
Right.
I was like, okay, I think I'll give it another shot. So I got back on the tomfoolery on all the dating sites. And that's exactly what I was met with, tomfoolery.
Well,
There's a bit of that
hold
that
on a
goes
second,
on
Bianca,
Bianca,
because
just actually helping
I
a.
see Mark wants to say something because he popped in. Mark, say
Now,
what you
popped
got to
in.
say.
Now,
Okay.
a couple of things. One, I was just helping a friend of mine that does a show every Tuesday afternoon. We air it on Pod TV on Thursdays, but it's called Relationship Soup. So that's actually what she was talking about with these new apps that are out there and
Yes.
everything. I think one of them is called something in tea, but it's a lot of these apps that are people basically outing their bad dates and everything like that. So it's
I
just new
Oh,
see.
apps.
I heard about that.
I've seen that on the news. Yes.
Yeah.
I've
Look,
seen it on the news.
I ain't gonna do that. I ain't trying to get chopped up
And the
and put in
crazy,
deep
look, hey
here.
Mark, let me tell you the crazy part about that. You know who broke into the site? A man.
Yeah.
They broke it.
I mean, yeah, somebody broke into a site. It probably been in anonymous that you put on there. Boo Boo was a bad day. He lived with baby mama. He got 5 kids. He got
Yeah.
STD, and everybody who put stuff in there supposed to be anonymous, but they could
Right.
talk about the mate, the man. But somebody broke into the site and put all the women out there who was putting stuff in the site,
Wow.
and of course it was a man.
Got in trouble, got in all kinds of trouble all along those lines and everything.
I ain't gonna
Uh,
out nobody. I'm gonna talk shit, but I'm not gonna say who it is.
so you're gonna talk shit to your friends. You're not gonna even tell your friends who it is. And so,
No, I'm gonna tell my friends. But I'm not gonna tell the world.
right, but you let your friends know so they don't make the same mistake.
Right? Yeah.
Because you want to make sure they don't make the same mistake and everything like that. One of the things I was going to ask, and I've asked it on a couple of my other shows because I'm one of the producers at Pod TV and everything, is you mentioned having a child that helps you, encourage you to write and everything. But how do you balance that work-life balance and everything like that? So how do you balance? Because I'm sure you got a regular job in addition to being an author. So how do you
Mhm.
balance that work-life balance? Because you're also a parent.
Well, first of all, my son will be 30 years old next month, so
Okay,
I don't have too much. I don't have to balance too much with him. He's grown.
gotcha.
But when he was little, like I said, it was kind of hard to find time to write because I was doing so much other stuff with the sports and with getting my degrees and going to school and all that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense and everything. So tell us a little bit about, I know that you were talking to Yonder, but what kind of books do you write and what kind of subjects do you try to stay away from? Because I know some friends of mine, they won't write anything got to do with religion because religion is too scary and
Oh,
everything like that. And then you got some folks that don't want to write too much about relationships because they're afraid that people might think that they're writing about their past relationships, kind of like we were
oh.
talking about this app and everything. So what are the subject matters that you feel comfortable writing about?
Well, my genre technically is contemporary fiction. I guess that kind of goes into the romance category. I did do one Christian devotional. I did do that, but that was a collaboration with 89 other authors. I don't particularly care for like the sci-fi, the fantasy, the vampires and all that mess. I can't get that. I can't. I'll stick to the romance, the dating, and stuff like that. But I can't even do like the horror stuff, like the mystery and all that. I know Yonder dabbles in some of that stuff, and he
It's just
encouraged
because I
me
had
to.
to. You know
Um,
why? When I do book signings, my first books was erotica, and I have five of them now. It's erotica. Well, when I do book signings, folks would go online and buy the book. Wouldn't sit there and talk to me. I would sell 2 books out in the public and 10 books online. So then the same people that came to my desk, to my table, they wouldn't take. So I started asking, "What do you read? You read murder mystery? You read TD Jakes? Tell me a good book to read." And they say, "I read this, I read this." So I wanted to be like, for lack of word, back of word, Walmart. You go to
Right.
Walmart to buy some deodorant. You get your
mhm,
oil change. You get some McDonald's.
mhm.
You buy groceries and everything. So when you come to my table, okay, you don't read erotic. Okay, I got some devotional for you. You don't read devotional? I got some poetry for you. You don't read the poetry? I got some black men's mental health for you. Okay, I'll read that. Okay, well, I got something you can't leave from my table without buying something. Because if you say you're a reader, you read something that I wrote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I started doing the murder mysteries. I watched Law and Order and CSI, all that stuff. So
Yeah,
I
me
started
too.
writing those type of things. I was like, okay, so when you come to my table, you're going to buy your book, buddy. Yes, you are. Woman, man, boy, girl, whatever you are, you're going to buy a book because if you say you read, you got to read something I write.
I feel you. I know you told me to, sometimes, challenge myself as a writer and try to cross over into another genre, but I have not done that yet. Other than the Christian book.
But I'm gonna tell you how I got pushed to that side. One of my good friends named editor named Leah. Leah was editing my books, and she's a murder mystery person. And she challenged me. She said, "Hey, won't you kill somebody?" I said, "Kill somebody? I don't know how to do that." And she said,
Wow.
"If you kill somebody, I have sex with somebody in my book." Because she didn't write sexy books. She wrote murder mysteries. So what we did was our first book together is called Taboo Mocha Secrets.
Oh yeah, I
I
got it.
used, yeah, I used my same characters from Taboo, and I made them killers. I already
Mhm.
knew them intimately, so I just made them killers. And
Yeah.
she started writing erotica and her stuff. So it was like we switched genres, and we liked it. I like it now. I know how to make a good killer now. I kill like a woman
Mhm.
kill. A man kills by doing a drive by. No, a woman put something in your toothpaste and your toe fall off. Then your ear fall off. Women kill differently. Men just boom, 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 boom. Women kill so differently, and it makes you watch. You know how you watch a CSI or something like that, and if you're part two, you're like, oh man, that's how I started writing in that aspect. I
Yeah.
was pushed to. That's why I push you.
I'm
And
gonna
we
get
got
there
one
one
of your
day.
other authors. There he goes and everything. Looks like Troy has joined us and everything. So I'm going to bring Troy on and you can introduce him because he's another one of your authors and everything along those lines. Just really quickly, since we got Bianca and as I bring Troy in and everything, how much Yonder and Bianca, and maybe as you introduce Troy, he might have some thoughts about this as well. Do you find yourself drawing from your own friend circle in the characters that you write? Now, you might not be writing them exactly, but you're drawing characteristics from your friend and acquaintance circle and everything
Oh,
like that. And have you ever got busted because they recognize themselves in the character?
well, all of my characters are real. I mean, really, they are real people for real. I just changed their names. If they were light skinned, I made them dark skinned. If they were dark skinned, I made them light skinned. If they happened in Southeast DC, I put it uptown. If they happened in Maryland, I put it in Virginia. Happened in Virginia, I put it in DC.
That's interesting.
So all of them are real. I just changed the names. I mean, and they're real people that I know, except the killing people. But with erotica and all that and other stuff, every last person is a person.
Okay. What about you, Bianca?
Yeah, some of my characters are inspired by some people that I know. Um, but nobody has ever come to me saying, "Is that me in your book?" or Did you write that character based on me?" Nobody has ever come to me, so I must disguise them really good.
Yeah, they just can't figure out if folks would sit down and read the book and they would see if you were light skinned, I made you dark skinned. You were tall, I made you short. I
Mhm.
changed what you were, but the thing you did, you still did it. So you know what you did. If you read my book, you like, hey,
Is that what you did?
I but like I said, but you tall, I made you short.
Hmm.
You dark skinned, I made you light skinned. You brown, I made you white. It's the person. If they read into them like, and I'm one of the people who go with dates and times too. I'm gonna tell you, you did this in 1985 at the Classics nightclub.
Wow, not
You
the
you,
classic.
you
That was,
know it was you. You remember Bianca? You know it was you.
yes, that was my spot. Thursday nights.
Yeah, girl, look and see,
Right, the
we
spots and
came to Thursday
everything.
night after the strippers were on because it's 200 women there hot and sweaty. Oh, I
Yeah.
came in. I stood at the door waiting for the strippers to get off
Oh
because
my
ain't nothing in it
god.
but women. Come on,
Yeah,
that was my spot too.
I'm going to turn it over back to you, Yonder, and everything.
Oh
If I
my
got other
god.
questions, I may pop back in and later and everything. And I know you got a conversation with Troy. Troy, I've got some friends that are stand-up comedians. Gravedigger here in North Carolina, Wafik, who is a Muslim comedian, and a couple of other folks that I know that are in the comic realm and everything like that, including some that are in improv, like my good friend Jacoby McDuffie, who does the improv for the Durham Bulls minor league baseball team. So if you go to a game here in Durham, North Carolina, he won't do the play-by-play, but if you see like the running with the bulls, which is their mascot, or some of the contests like the sumo wrestling. He's the one doing those calls and everything like that. So I just wondered, how much does being a comedian help you as an author?
I was a writer before I was ever a comedian.
Okay.
So I've been writing since I was and what's going on, everybody? Hi, Isaac. But I've been writing since I mean I started writing poetry and realized it was a little deeper. Roses are red, violets are blue, but what is blue? You know, and you start going a little. I wanted it. I think at a very young age I realized that there was no limit to what you could write. Like you could take something like, and I jokingly say, but what is blue? But that was an actual poem that I wrote in elementary school. Roses are red, violets blue, but what is blue? And I started describing the color blue. And then when the teacher read it, she looked up and was like, now nobody until I was in senior year of high school, my senior English teacher, Miss Gill, I think she was married. Her name's probably changed. Milford Mill High School in Baltimore. And she was like, white blonde haired lady, had the jean jumper on, that universal teacher jean jumpsuit, like it's a jean jumpsuit and dress. Looks like, I don't know what overall dress situation she looked all. She was like, anybody ever tell you were gifted in writing? And I was like, no. She said, then if I told you, it wouldn't make a difference. She said, enter the Maryland State Writing Contest, and I won second place.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And the girl who beat me was a straight A Japanese student that had a heart attack when she got a B one time. So they probably gave it to her. It was like, if we don't give it to Susanna Yan, she's gonna lose her mind. She probably watching right now, like, I did not have a heart attack, John.
He's like, that wasn't me. I didn't do that. Like I said, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
But I say that it was actually the writing helped my comedy.
Right.
So it was the reverse. The writing ended up helping my comedy because I was always a improv, top of the dome, with situational comedy, physical comedian, and I was hosting a show actually for the band Kindred had came to Baltimore, and they had their horn players were mainstream. They were two Baltimore musicians. A lot of musicians from New York to down through all up and down the East Coast, musician around the nation. Now, and I realize musicians play with one another. So they had a music night, live music night, and they were looking for a guest host, and they did a competition, and I was the first one that went up there and did the competition, and they stopped it and said, I think we found a host, we don't need it. So I started hosting the night at this venue, and this was like so I've been doing professional comedy since 2001.
Okay.
And because I say that's when I started getting paid for it. So I got paid my first paid comedy gig in 2001, so about 24 years now. But it and Yonda's seen the whole ride from me, because I have a marketing and branding and promotion background, and working with a venue. Shout out to the Passad brothers. They gave me an opportunity to start a jazz club in Baltimore with them. And but in the midst of it, I was hosting this show. The owners of the venue that had the music night, they were twins. They were entrepreneurs. And one of them came up and said, man, you're really funny. You should have your own comedy night. I said, yeah, eventually one day. He said, what night you want? I was like, oh, well, but it worked easily because I was already into production.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was a comedian. Shout out to my man, Larry Lancaster in Baltimore. And he was there one of the nights. He was like, man, you really funny. How long you been doing comedy? And I hadn't placed a date on anything because it was so natural. I was like, all my life. And, hosting events and doing stuff. He said, how long you been like doing this professional comedy? I was like, he said, how long you been writing? And Larry was the first one that that it woke me up that, oh, dude, you can actually write jokes.
Right.
You don't always have to, because everybody I saw, Arsenio Hall, Merv Griffin, Johnny Carson, every night these cats had different jokes. I did not know they had writers.
Right.
I just knew they had something fresh every night. So Yonda tell you, where I come from, we did for 10 years, we did the Black Tiger Motorcycle Club events, Taboo, and I would stand flat-footed, and anybody who's watching will tell you, for 3 to 4 hours, and let them put sexual questions in a bucket, pull them, and do improv off them for 3 to 4 hours.
With no one leaving.
And no one would leave.
No one leaves.
It was the best. It was the best. one of the best training grounds
Maybe
around
what?
outside of what I was
Maybe two
doing. Yeah.
thousand people standing. Maybe people standing up.
12,
We're in
we
the
had at
biggest
least 1,200
ballroom.
people in a lit ballroom,
In a
daytime.
ballroom. In the middle of the
They got
day.
their drinks with them.
We came on at 1 o'clock in the middle of the day. They did
It
till
was
4.
yeah. So it's everything. Anybody that's a comedian or doing something, or even a writer, like they said, you take from everything. All the stuff I've written, the short story. I'm Chronicles of Young Lance, and what I do is taboo books. So all of my stories so far has been about me.
Right.
So I just haven't let
And he's on the
on
front
who.
cover of the book too. This is him on the front cover.
Mhm.
Book 3
Okay.
and book 4. He's on the front cover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
I
is
didn't
me.
know you was
Run that back.
Lance, Troy.
You know,
I
Troy
read all
Lance
those books.
Rawlings.
Yeah,
Troy
I read
Lance
all of
Rawlings.
them
That's what.
books. Okay.
Yeah. So the Chronicles of Young Lance. I was about to give it away, but book 6. Which one did I put in? Oh, book 6. I think I put the vocalist in there, right? So yeah. So yeah, each one of the stories are a story about something that I went through. We changed the names of the not so innocent.
And the books.
But it was like Best Man my main book that these pieces come from, it's called The Chronicles of Young Lance. So it's like Cooley High meets American Pie.
Okay.
Well, it's
So
just really
if you
quickly.
notice, I mean, Bianca, you said you read the Young Lance. So
Mhm.
if you think about Cooley High, American Pie, the
Right.
John Hughes films, the stuff like that, because remember, Young Lance is a teenager
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
when it starts. So a lot of people can't handle that. They don't understand all the John Hughes, Sweet 16 and Porgy's and all those movies you watch. They were teenagers,
Mm-hmm.
and I can talk about it because it's based on a true story. These are things that happened to me. So yeah. But so it comes from life, and there are certain scenarios that change them around to make it more interesting because it has to be you want to be creative enough for it to be engaging. Same
Mm-hmm.
thing with telling a joke on stage. It's the difference. Somebody gets on stage. If you've been seeing open mic, people go on stage and they start telling a story that was funny amongst their friends. Well, your friends are laughing because it's non-pretentious. Y'all having fun. You got drinks and stuff on stage. They're waiting for, especially black people. White folks go to the show to laugh. Black people go to a show for you to make them laugh. It's the first of the month. I just lost all my money. I'm coming here to laugh. Go.
Wow.
I remember. Shout out to my man Al Harrison. My man Al, one of my business partners, firefighter. He's passing now. He said he wanted me to do some comedy at his birthday party, and I owned a barbershop in Baltimore, so I was still cutting hair. And he said, "Hey y'all, I'm about to bring my barber up to do some jokes." Instantly in my mind, I said, "No, your barber's about to bomb tonight."
Uh-oh.
Because it don't even sound like I'm about to bring my barber up
Barbara up to
to do
tell some
some
jokes, right?
jokes.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I was like, whatever you do part time will always be part time. It's like God spoke it to me. Whatever you do part time will always be part time. What are you gonna do? Who are you? Who are you identify? Because people identify you. Before if I meet a young lady, hey, how you doing, Bianca? Hey, what you doing? Hey, I want to get. I ain't gonna hit her with the taboo hot seat. You ever tossed a salad? I'm gonna say something like, what do you do? Because we identify people with what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of use that as an icebreaker. And so the barber coming up, and one guy yelled from the audience, I never shoot, Al, you funnier than the barber. You are funnier than the barber, Al. Why don't you come up here and get this mic, and I'll give you a shape up tomorrow? Cause
Well,
this
Troy,
ain't
let me
going right.
introduce you for Troy. Let me introduce you, Troy.
Wow.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, this is my writing partner, my best friend, my brother from another mother. We met, probably
21 years ago.
21 years ago, and we've been together since. This is Troy Rollins.
No,
He
we met about 22 years ago, but we've been
wants to
working together for
he
21
wants to be
years.
known as comedian, but Troy's actually a great writer also. And we met years ago. I called him. He spammed me. Actually, that's how we met. We met via spam. He was spamming me. He spammed me via email, and I read it. He had his newsletter called Ghost Host Presents. And when we finally hooked up, he brought me to Baltimore. This is who gave my writing start, my first book signing. He brought me to Baltimore. He said, "Come to Baltimore." It was on a Tuesday, and I had 1,000 books in my Chevy Blazer because I'm gonna sell these books. because I'm a new
He
author.
hit me up. He hit me up. Literally, we lost touch for a while.
Hmm.
I had closed my barbershop. I was going through that metamorphosis. It was like God was pounding my head. It was like, you want to cut hair the rest of your life? I was like, no. He was like, well, you better get started. I was like, well, I can do the entertainment thing. Let me just see. I was always used to making money with my hands,
Right.
and to be able to make money with ideas was a crazy concept. So, and right around that same time, I was staying with my brother, and I think I had just moved from there and got my own place again. And the first call I get, and I didn't recognize the number. I was like, hey, he was like, hey, man, because we had talked maybe 6 months to 9 months prior, and he said he was
Yes, you
coming out with
sure
his book.
did. Yep.
And I was like, hey, he said, hey, man, I was tracking you down, trying to find the number. And you see how fast he talked. Hey, I'm trying to find the number. And I had never, we never met in person. I was like, man, yeah, man, I'm doing my thing. And by this time, I had worked with an author named D. Blackman. I had my email newsletter. I started social media marketing promotion in '98. So I was working that side of the business stuff I had. And he was like, man, I'm doing this. I said, okay. And he's talking. He said, yeah, man, I got my book out. I said, man, congratulations, man. I was like, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to do. I said, you had your first signing yet? He said, no. I said, you got books? He said, yeah. I said, how many books you got? Man, I got a truck full of books. I looked at my watch and I was like, what are you? How far are you from Baltimore? And he was like, I don't know. It's just that. And it happened to be, this is the thing that's so crazy. He was I think, I don't know if he got laid off, but he was off work. So he was like, I was like, can you come to Baltimore? He's like, yeah, I'll be there in a couple hours, whatever. I was like, come to Baltimore. Because by that time I had already set up a contingency of really, well, they were all black bookstore owners.
Yes.
So because I had done so much stuff with D. Blackman, the author D. Blackman, I had already set up as a publicist places to take him. So when he came to town, we met. I lived right up the street from right down the street. I'm walking distance.
I think he faded a little bit. He might be where he's at in his car and everything.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna finish telling Troy's story with that. Like I said, so we met,
Everybody back.
and I ended up down Baltimore. He told me to come to Baltimore, and I went to Baltimore, and he started bringing me around to bookstores. We went to Urban Knowledge, which is owned by Carl Weber. Yeah, I see Carl Weber on TV and everything. Carl Weber actually gave me my first check. But that was the first check. But the first piece of cash I got, Troy brought me to another place by Madonna Mall, not Madonna, by Lexington Market. And the guy said, "Can you do a book signing right
Mr.
now?"
Cliffs.
Yeah.
I was like, I went back there. Yeah.
I didn't know what book
Mr.
signing
Cliff.
was. I hadn't did a book sign. I didn't know he had a set table. Troy went to CVS and got a piece of paper this big and got a magic mark and put Yonder doing a book signing right here. I stood outside the bookstore that day and sold maybe 30 or 40 books.
Wow.
And I was like, mind you, I hadn't given Troy any money that day. I had a check in my pocket and I asked him how did he spell his whole name. And he told me what his whole name was. And I gave him a check. He said, "What's this for?" I said, "Dude, you my publicist, man. Right now, that from that day on, we sealed it that day with a handshake." He was like,
Here's the thing. Here's a funny thing how God worked. I was dropping, he had a guy with him. I didn't know he didn't even know the premise of doing a book signing. Nothing. So I'm thinking, y'all here's your table. This Lexington Market. This is like, that's Camden Yards right there. You got traffic. See y'all later. He was like, where you going? I was like, I go take care of some business. I'm just hustling to get my rent together. He said, wait a second. How do you spell your name? The check he gave me was for the amount of my rent.
Wow.
Wow.
Didn't know. I didn't know. I guess I told him he's my publicist that day. And we've been hooked to the hip since. And I'm the one who pushed Troy to write. Troy was always writing proposals for everybody, doing things that he was doing. And I was like, brother, you know you're a great writer, right? He's like, yeah. I said, well, look, book 1 and book 2. I think you started book 3, Troy, or you started book 2?
First one was in book 3.
Okay. I said, man, give me a story. I pressed him. Just like I did with you, Bianca. I pressed him. He was like, all right, man, it's a good man. Dude, give me the story. He put the book in, he put the story in the book, it was a hit. I said, look, book 4 came out. Where you story at? He was like, for real? Book 5 came out. Where you story at? Now book 6 is about to come out. Where you story at? Because they still want. They looking for him in these books.
Now, here's the other thing. When we started doing the the book signings we started doing. I asked him. I said, "Do you want to make quick money, or you want to kind of stretch it and make it a while?" He was like, "Hey, whatever you think." Everything he was like, whatever D Blackman wasn't doing or anybody else wasn't doing, I want to do whatever ideas you have. And I was like, hey, I was like, well, you don't have to do book festivals. So we started doing hair
Hair
salons.
shows.
That's how I met. That's how I met Malika from Dreads and Heads, because
Mm-hmm.
we did her salon. We started doing hair shows and going places where they didn't have books on. The happy hour, the weekend. If you're a book author and you go to your weekly happy hour, you can mess around and sell 60 books there, because no book authors there, but you got a lot of women to read.
Yes.
And that's how we found out. We started Taboo Talk. When we started Taboo Talk for store, we were in Mondawmin Mall. We were doing a book signing. And we're standing, two guys. We got blazers on, our jeans, and it's Mondawmin Mall. If you know anything about a black mall, it's baby stores, liquor stores. It's
It's
Saturday.
Iverson
People always
Mall
act
on the outside. It's
right
Iverson Mall.
inside, right.
Wow.
So we inside, and this one woman walks up. She opens up his book. It's like the first book was 69 pages.
Yep, that's all it
So she
was.
looking, and the woman to read, she halfway through it looking at me. Let me ask y'all something. Y'all two men. And I don't know what kind of language you use here, so I'll try to
You go,
make
you
the
go,
right
he go right, Mark.
Yeah.
she literally said, "Now look, my man came home the other night. I tried to go down on him and suck him off. He stopped me. Is he cheating on me?" I was like, "He stopped you? I ain't never heard no man stopping some woman from first off, I don't." I said, "But were you always jumping on him at the door?" And, I'm a comedian, so I started joking with her, and she's laughing and stuff. And I was like, "Plus, he might still be at work." And she was like, "What?" I said, "A
Explain
man got
that,
a
Troy.
lot."
Explain that.
I was like, "If he's thinking about, he's not just his dick. If he's thinking about something, if you argued earlier that day, if his boss got on his nerves, and he comes in that door, whatever he has, he's not." Women can decompress kind of quick. They on the phone. Hey, girl, what's going on? I'm leaving work now. Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, your son does have STD. And hold on, no, girl, you ain't got to hang up. And she'll talk to that girl all the way into car, go home, and get your clothes off, put your good school clothes up, get your cooking dinner on the phone. Doing Women can multitask. A guy, if he has something on his head, it's on his head. So him coming in the door,
One
she
track
don't know
mind. That's all a man
what
has.
he's
One track
walking in with.
mind.
Right? He could be walking in. You might be sucking him and his boss. He was like, let him wind that. He stops you like, hey, hold up. So she's like, he might be cheating on me. He might just be in his own headspace. And now, mind you, this is 2004. This is before
Yes.
mental health was sexy.
Right.
So I backed up, and she stayed there. Book signing starts 6. She stayed there for women come in, and I had to
Yep.
pitch. Hey, you read? Check out this. I'd show them one of Yonder's poems, and if they read erotic, if they was reading Zane or anybody like that, it was a hook. But I stepped back and look at how many people was just standing around talking.
They didn't leave. We doing a 2 hour
And I
book signing, and they not leaving.
Wow.
right, and I went to Yonder. I said, how much you need to make off each book? And he was like, $5-10. I said, we're gonna charge $20. We're gonna find a space, and we're gonna make it an event where they don't have to be limited. They can talk how they want. They can ask the questions. We can do, because we was already talking about sex blatantly. So I created Taboo Talk. We
Hey,
created
hey,
we
Troy,
we
Troy, let me tell them. Before we created Taboo Talk, we started doing it in the back of Carl Weber's bookstore, Urban
well,
Knowledge.
that was the first show with the flyer.
We would
Right.
We
go
did
get
it.
some Chinese. We go get some Chinese food. Big thing of stir fried rice, some chicken wing, and what were we drinking, Troy?
Sangria. What is the
Sangria and
sangria? Sangria from the liquor store. All these. Remember, you got the Chinese food store in Mondam. You got the liquor store right there. Everything we needed was right there.
we got 20 women in the back of Carl Weber's bookstore, and they not leaving. And we just talking about everything. I even had a toy lady, my girl. I don't know where she is now. My girl Stephanie's come with toys.
Stephanie.
She
So
came with
we
toys.
started.
And
It
way
was
back here,
12
the
people.
mall is closed. We're still in the mall, and that's our
The
taboo
security
talk.
had to let us out. 12 people in the back of the bookstore. A year
Wow.
later, we had 1,200 people in the ballroom.
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's how it started. But it was the thing of letting people talk
Let people
openly
talk.
about what's what.
And
No
shout out to
limit.
the Black Tigers Motorcycle Club. They always took care of us. I mean, really, we get there to the events Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they treat us like kings.
Yep. Yep. So, and then when we started that, I realized that I didn't have a book that was indicative. I think Steve Harvey, not too long after that, Steve Harvey had came out with his book. Um, I forgot what his first book. I don't know if his first book was Think Like a Man, Act Like a Lady, or what his first book was called. Um,
Yeah, that was his first one. Yeah.
but we were on. I was on a different. I've never been married, but I dating and stuff like that. So I came up with a book, Butt Naked Honest, conversational foreplay for dating,
Yeah.
and asking the hard questions up front. So this is the book that I came up with, and I was like, I'll just do my comedic thing on it. And then when I was writing it, it wasn't really funny because I was taking some of the questions that people were coming up, like the general questions, like people worried about how do I do this, how do I do that, the taboos with the black community are different from those with a white community. White community talking about anal sex ain't no big thing. Black community was like anal sex, so it
I don't do that.
each thing was maneuvered accordingly. But all of that, um to answer your question from earlier, Mark, it kind of interchanged with everything. The taboo, me working with Yonda actually found my niche in comedy. When
Yes.
it takes you years to find your niche. Before I was telling jokes, I get up there, do some impersonations, do a Ray Charles, but I was also, when I started doing comedy, I was heavily active in the church too. So I was kind of leaning to do more clean stuff, just funny. But it was like Richard Pryor. When Richard Pryor first started, Bill Cosby's the guy on TV. I want to be like Bill Cosby. So any of the old black and white stuff you saw of Richard, he was pretty clean. He was just doing jokes, impersonations, physical comedy. But then he had a breakdown. I didn't have to have a breakdown. I had a breakthrough and met Yonda because he came up like my parents left at 14. We had the party house. My mother's a nurse during the day, had a little drug deal situation at night. My brother kind of hustled. So, and we lived in the county. So we had the party house. My mother girlfriend come over and don't leave. Miss, and my father come home too. We had that kind of stuff going on. So when the women started asking questions about sex and stuff like that, for me, I'm not judging them. Yonder wasn't judging them. I wasn't judging them. And people felt like they can come in there and now guys, it took guys a while, but the women,
Yeah.
you ask a woman a question, you give a woman a sheet of questions, are you an orgasm chaser? Like that, she like, y'all crazy. Women just go. They've
For
already
days. Yeah,
talked
for days. They got 10 questions at a time.
gone. So all of that came, but in me doing the thing with Yonda, I found my niche. Oh, this is easy for me to talk about. I know about this stuff. I can easily go up in front of people, and I made an atmosphere where people feel comfortable. I still do it today. I host a comedy night every Monday night here in Hollywood, and it's still the same thing. I recently a new comedy night I've been doing for probably almost 2 years. October be 2 years, but and I just recently did another comedy special that I put on YouTube. Uh, um, More of a gritty one. It's called 50. So if you go on YouTube and put Troy Rawlings 50 in, it's more of what you get on a Monday night when I'm doing my thing. I'm gonna do another more professional comedy special where I can put my suit on and be on the stage and stuff. But the 50 is hilarious because you get to hear. I give a taste, and the laughs you hear are genuine because they're comedians and they're people that came out for my birthday. I just turned 50 in February, and the comedians had never seen me do a full set. They see me host. So it was a really fun experience. But yeah, so it goes hand in hand. I think that's how art is. It's supposed to go hand
Yeah,
in hand
it's
continuously.
supposed to go hand in hand and everything. What is your take on the current comedy and everything, Troy? Because one of the things that I've been fascinated by is I've been watching some old reruns. I've been watching them now for a couple of weeks of, say, Carol Burnett and Vicki Lawrence, and even some of the old Pigmeat Markhams, because I'm here in Durham, North Carolina, and everything like that. But I mean, there was humor that we don't oftentimes think about. And Yonder will get a kick out of this because they were making references to even sex situations, even in some of the early Carol Burnett's. Because I think there was one where Vicki Lawrence was basically having a fit and basically throwing a tantrum, and Carol Burnett went up to her, and then one of the outtakes basically asked her if she was on the cotton pony and everything like that. So anybody that knows women knows about tampons and things along those lines. So that's actually what Carol Burnett was referring to, and all along those lines. But I just wondered your take on modern comedy versus some of the classic comedy?
There's nothing new under the sun. I could play you. I could play you some outtakes. They got it way deeper than that on Carol Burnett.
Oh, they
I
did.
was a I was a Carol Burnett fanatic fan, and that's one of the people, and one of the reasons I do the type of comedy I do now with improv and everything is because of people like Carol Burnett, because of people even like even though he had a bunch of jokes, think about how many jokes and how many albums that Red Fox had, but
Right.
he can get in front of any audience and just be up there and just do his thing, and there was really no limit to pushing the envelope. So and life is life. You could read something in the Bible and relate it to now.
Oh
So
yeah.
how much more? So what we're seeing, the only difference in then and now is the fact that we have more mediums. This is the new TV,
Yeah,
and it's
definitely.
in our pocket. And our kids, and it's hard to censor our kids from. Well, kids can't. You can't censor your kids if they have a phone. It's stretched everything a bit more. We used to have to search for certain things or listen in the basement and turn it down real low, or go over our boy house when their parents wasn't home. It was harder to get to certain things. That's not the case anymore. So that's the only difference. And whereas for blacks or whatever, it's harder for us to get on certain stages. It's not the case anymore. Because the stage is your phone. So the only real difference I see in comedy now, like a lot of people, I was on a panel, great brother named Mike Williams. A lot of people, Mike Williams is one of the unsung. Before there was ever a Def Comedy Jam, there was the Comedy Act Theater here in Los Angeles,
Anyway,
and Mike Williams started that. And I was on a panel with him recently, um, where we were just talking about the history of comedy and where it is now. And one of the things that was really so he was the one that pretty much introduced Robin Harris to the world.
right.
Robin Harris was the host of the Comedy Act Theater. So, and they got dressed. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 300 people, 400 people. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, black people looking good coming out. All the stars, everybody hit the Comedy Act Theater. And I think it was at the Regency West in LA. And so I was on a panel with some OGs who had did it. And then I told about me being 50. I think Mike is 72. So me being 50 and some of the other I was the youngest comic on the panel. So at 50, I was the one telling how, like, certain things he's breaking down about how Eddie Murphy was that. And I talked about, I could tell the difference between Delirious and Raw.
Mm.
Because Delirious, we went over my boy's house and watched. It was kind of funny. Eddie Murphy was like a rock star. He still kind of seemed like the guy from Saturday Night Live. When I saw Raw, me and my boy Vince went and paid our money. It was daytime at the Twin Theater. Vincent, rest in peace, is my best friend. Twin Theater, we was looking for movies to see, and I was like, Raw's here. Hey, can you make one for Raw? And I didn't even think about it. Wasn't like whispering on the side. He's like, 2 for Raw, okay. He gave us the tickets. I was like, we going in to see Raw. It was the best concert I'd ever been to, and it was a movie. We were in there cracking up, but it made so much sense. And I said, that's what I wanted, because it didn't look like he was telling jokes at all. He was talking.
Mm-hmm.
He was so polished. He was so flow. And mind you, here's the thing that people don't realize. I think Eddie was, so if he was 21 when he did Delirious, might have been 23, 24 when he did Raw.
Mm-hmm. Yep. A few years later.
Hey, Troy, I want to stop you right there. I love that point you brought there. Bianca, the question that I have is, when did you want to become an author? What made you become an author? What? Not me pushing you. You can't say that. Troy can't say I pushed. It's already been in y'all. When did you want to become an author?
Oh man. So I've been writing since I was a little girl, really, maybe like 11, 12 years old. But I didn't think to like actually put anything out, like publish something. I didn't ever think to do that until I was an adult. So maybe 20 something, I even thought that I could put something out.
And see, my journey's totally different. I'm a reader. I wasn't a book reader. I'm a newspaper reader. If anyone who knows me, and I know Troy knows me, and a whole lot of folks know me personally, I'm a person who reads 20 newspapers a day. I love news. I gather for news. My mama made me read when I was younger, she would have me read the mini page. Then she started telling me to read the whole newspaper and tell what happened in Czechoslovakia.
Oh my goodness.
So I read the whole newspaper. She didn't read newspaper anymore. She told me to tell her what happened in the news. To this day, I still get the newspaper.
Wow.
And what made me start writing, and mind you, I never knew I wanted to write. But I was reading, I'm going to tell you, this is a funny story. I was reading, you know how you're trying to get your religion together. You get older, you're 20-something-ish, 30, 20-something, 30, late 30s. I was reading Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. That's one of them one-day devotionals, right? Mm-hmm. I was reading it on the commuter bus going to my good old government job in D.C. I was on the commuter bus coming from Southern Maryland. I read Purpose Driven Life. And you're supposed to read one page each day, right? I read the whole book in one day. Oh, and it say, when you finish the book, you're supposed to decide what you want to be. Guess what? After I read that book in one day, the next day I was on my commuter bus, I started writing my book. I want to become an author that day.
Wow.
It said, what do you want to become? When you read The Purpose of Your Life, you're supposed to have a plan of what you want to become when you finish it. I finished the book in one day. and day two, I wanted to be a writer. And I started writing my book on a commuter bus going to work. And my first people who read it was people in my daughter's dance class. My daughter had dance class on Saturday for like 3 hours. I would go in there and I would let the dance mothers read the book. And they were like, oh my God, whose is this? It's mine. Those are my first readers. They was reading the written, we type everything now. They was reading the handwritten parts. The handwritten, I had tablets in my hand. I would have 7 women there with a different tablet in their hand. Book to make the whole book. And that's how I knew I had something there. Because they would be in there, mind you, while the children are dancing, after like the second hour, they say, come look through the window and see your child. Wouldn't nobody stand up to go see their child. Because they got a tablet in their hand. Yeah, these are white women. And I was like, oh, this is something special here. I was like, oh my God. It was like, this ain't out. I was like, nah, that's mine. It was like, you playing. And that gave me that, as you're writing, you got, somebody has to say, either if they're not a writer, somebody has to say, you got it, because everybody thinks you got it, but all the time you ain't got it. You don't have it. That's when I knew I had it.
And not many people get a chance to introduce their books directly to their audience.
Right. Yes.
Like you're there with dance moms, and they're like, and all of them are like, and then they're giving them point. Oh, you know what? Talk more about this, or go here, or that. Yeah. How can you write? There's a movie. What's that movie? As Good as It Gets. Jack Nicholson plays an author that's OCD, and she's like, how do you write women so well? and that's what you get from your audience. The fact that you could instantly get your audience to help edit the book at the beginning.
Yeah. And people love. My first editor took Maggie out of my book. She said she didn't like Maggie. Women love Maggie.
Maggie's madness.
She did not like Maggie. She said, I don't like her. She said, I do not like her. So she took
because she was with the bougie with the bougie moms.
She probably no. Hey, Yonder, just really quickly along those same lines and everything, because you mentioned it earlier, and I think Troy mentioned it to you as well. This notion of you traveling in this big car of yours, I think it might have been an Oldsmobile, and having all of these different books, it actually reminded me of a
truck. Chevy Blazer.
It was a Blazer, but it reminded me of a friend of mine that used to do women's fashion, and he used to have tons of dresses. Jimmy McKinnon, I think he's still around and everything, but he would have tons of dresses and would sell those dresses out of that car. I mean, he would come to events, he would come to the community. So what has happened with that? Because I do remember there was a time in society, whether it was in Baltimore where y'all are at, or whether California even where Troy is at, and I've actually got my friend Ronnie Warner that lives there. He did that film This Christmas and everything like that, or whether it was here in Durham, North Carolina and everything like that, where you would see people that would literally be hawking their wear, whether it was a book or whether it was dresses or whether it was whatever out of their car. And I don't know that I see that as much as I used to and everything. So
I still have books in my car to this day. I have books in my car. As you see, Troy's in his car right now. Troy has books with him in his car right now. Bianca got a book right there at the house. I still have books in my trunk today. Yes, this morning as I went for my walk this morning, I walk and I don't know these people, but I wave to everybody every day. So it was some young ladies out there this morning. I said, "Hey, are you book free?" They speak to me every day. They speak to me probably the last 3 years. They said, "Yeah." I said, "Hey, I'm being what's mine? I've never said anything but hi to them." I said, "I'm being radio tonight." And they started saying, "Oh, that's what I read. That's what I read." One of the biggest things all of them can attest to when you're doing it, even with comedy, you you're not a comedian every day, even though you want to be, and you're not a salesman every day. Some days you just regular Joe, but if you express yourself to folks who you never met before, they be like, "Oh, I read them books. That's what I read." That so I'm trying to. I think my hunger changed when I first had book one out. The hunger was there. Troy did 72 books. We did 72 events in a 52-week year. That's how many times we were out. So I need to get that energy again. And at one time, shoot, I think book one paid 3 mortgages a month. We were we were we were on something different. We were on a hunger, and there's life change. You get married, you get married, you have children. Tragic, people die. Your hunger leaves you somewhere along the line. I think I'm getting it back because
No, I
it
know
was
authors
a different
definitely
hunger.
have books with them all the time and everything like that. But what I was getting at and everything, and I think Bianca knows where I was going, is there was a time in society that you would see a lot of what they call trunk sales. I remember I had a
Oh
friend
yeah,
who did
I'm
a lot of trunk
confident.
sales and things of like that nature, and I don't see those
Still
as
do it. Still do it. What would happen is that there's Amazon.
right.
Yes.
There's I don't have to. I You always should keep the 101 entrepreneurism 101. You got to have something to sell.
Right.
And so you should always keep. I feel weird. I have one book in my bag just now, but I feel weird not having, because if I have a box of books, when I go into, and for me, like I said, I'm a master barber by trade, and uh, I cooked in restaurants for years. If I see a restaurant, barbershop, salon, anything, I'm like, that's nice. Let me go in and see if they mind me coming in and doing it. Because I have when you have books, when you have product, that's key. Now, the on-demand world, like we have Teespring set up, you can I've
Right.
helped companies set up stuff on demand. So for people that's not in your city or something, but trunk sales it didn't stop. You just learned that the convenience of the internet
Right.
has made it, especially
Yes.
like Los Angeles. There's an Amazon factory here. They do same day.
Right.
Some of these places, like, I was like, how do you do that? And my book's not even finished printing yet. Oh, we already got it. It's like, how you get my
Wow.
book?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they was that back in the day. That used to be bootleg speed. Me and Yonder, were we in New York and we saw the book in New York? Where was we at?
No,
The
no. What's the
books.
man? I can't say his name because I ain't trying to get sued. But that damn in Baltimore duped my book.
Yeah, some people would take a book and print it. You've got people that will print a book page by page, and you can tell they put it on a scanner or something because the
Yes.
words are kind of going like this. And
Right.
yeah,
Somebody stole
yeah.
my first book. I was at a flea market in Baltimore, and only person who distributed the books was me because it was me. We didn't have Amazon back in it. We were out before Amazon. People don't realize Amazon is really new compared to off
No,
the world.
Amazon's very new and everything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, really quick, because we got to wrap up shortly, and everything. It shows usually about an hour and 15 minutes or something along those lines. But just really quickly, because I think Troy might have mentioned it, Bianca did as well, and everything. What's your take on the black bookstores? Because I know even here in Durham, we used to have the No Bookstore. I know there's a black children's bookstore that I think is getting ready to reopen in Raleigh, which is our state capital here, and everything like that. But what is your take? Because it does seem like a lot of them are fading by the going by the wayside, for lack of a better term.
They are fading by the wayside. I plan to come down your way to, so I want to go to the black bookstore and put my books there and do book signings there. Years ago, the bookstores that we went to was Karibu had, I think, 4 different locations, and Urban Knowledge, which was run by Carl Weber, had three. He was Baltimore, Delaware, and somewhere else. Karibu had Iverson Mall. They were Pentagon City. They had a couple of places. When our books were at Karibu, oh my goodness, we sold out, man. I mean, we did our thing, and they always support us. You can go to Karibu once every 90 days and sell your books, and everybody know you become. Actually, that's how you became jet bestseller. You became jet because you're in the jet because you sold more books than anybody at that week for that time. So I wish I haven't found a whole lot. I'm going to start looking for them in Tampa now. There's one in Tampa. The young lady just passed away who owned it. So I'm going to start
Mm,
trying to do not just black bookstores. I just want to do independent bookstores because the Barnes and Noble and even the big boys, Barnes and Nobles and everybody, because they carry a book. I love doing book signings at bookstores, and because you get a different feel from a different group of folks who never knew who you was. So I want to start exploring that again and going back into bookstores. But I'm gonna tell you, I really like doing book signings at non-traditional book places. Like Troy said, we do hair shows, we do barbershops, we do barbershop. Anything that doesn't have the name book attached to it, I do well there. And it's not for competition wise, but if you do a book event, and nothing against anybody who do book events, I've been to some great book events. When there is 60 authors there or 40 or 30 authors there, that's 30 competition. They can write something different, totally different from you. But when you do a hair show and it's just you there, oh, all the money yours. And it's a fact. People don't want to see it that way, but it is what it is. When you do a barber shop or do a barber event or a bald hair event or whatever event you do that doesn't have book attached to it, usually it's two, maybe most time it's just one off there, or maybe three at the most. So you got three compared to compete against 30. We're all right. So they're gonna try to take as many as they can. But if I'm the only one there, who's getting take care? That one off.
Yeah.
it's true.
And that's how we started doing taboo talk and everything like that. Bianca got me from a beauty salon because I used to do book
Mhm.
signings in beauty salons on a
Yep.
Saturday while everybody getting their cornrows in their head. So only person there for the 4 hours besides the beautician is me. You want to
Yep.
read that book, you will come in, next person come in, I'm gonna get the book. So I
Mhm.
could sell
Got
50,
them under the
60.
dryer.
Yeah,
Yep. I
I
read the
remember
whole
one
book.
time. Shout out to my good friend Jessica Tillis, who is also my editor and one of my best friends in the industry. Me
Yep.
and Jessica used to do book events at beauty salons for folks you know. We went to a book salon one morning with a good friend of hers who she knew, and we were there less than an hour. I only had two books out there, and I might have sold 30 books in an hour. Jessica had 4 or 5 books out in there. She's probably sold 150 books within
Mhm.
1 hour because everybody in the bookstore bought, everybody in the beauty salon bought a book. It was crazy. We was like, oh my God. We left it a day was high fiving each other, hugging and kissing, saying, this don't make no sense.
Mhm.
And mind you, and even down to what's name, one of my Troy knows him, a set of my good friends to this day, Keisha and Alicia from the post office. When I would go drop books off at the post office to sign and send off, they actually, are you author? I said yes. Keisha and Alicia bought books. They're still my friends to this day. That's 21 years ago. Not only they buy books, they told everybody in the post office that I'm author. So each time I went there, somebody from the post office bought one.
Mhm.
And that's all in the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. 2 years ago, I was downtown DC at the post office, and I was signing a book to send off, and the girl said, "Hey, you yonder." Now I didn't know her. She bought all the girls in from the back. They bought my books within the last 20 years, and they knew who I was.
Yeah.
Post office girls. Keisha and Alicia, bless your heart. Appreciate y'all. Still friends of mine on Facebook, but good people. But I try to put my books in the hands that will put the books in other hands.
Yep.
Mhm.
That makes a lot of sense and everything. Before we wrap up and everything, if anybody's got any comments as to where they can be reached, if they've got
Yeah.
any shows
Get your
coming up,
social media of Troy and
or
Bianca. Bianca, get yours up, then Troy. I'll let Troy close it out. Then I'll close it out. Get your social media, Bianca.
So I'm on Facebook and on TikTok. You can find me on Facebook under author Bianca Moore, or you can find me on TikTok under Love to Write. It's LOVE the number two and write.
And
and
Troy, get your
before we
stuff
get
up.
to Troy, do you have any events coming up, Bianca?
Yeah, actually, this Thursday I'll be with comedian Hope Flood. You'll see it on my social media. I'm about to put it up in a bit. On a panel, on a relationship panel after a comedy show. Tonight I may be doing a comedy show, but every Monday, Laughs on Mondays at Sunset Rooftop, right above the original Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles on Sunset and Gower. Every Monday night, I'm hosting Laughs on Mondays, and my new comedy special, my new comedy joint, 50 is on YouTube now. So go to Troy Rawlings. If you put Troy Rawlings, Rawlings, anywhere on social media, you'll find me. Troy Rawlings Live is my Instagram. But and then the Troy Rawlings, but Troy Rawlings 50 on YouTube. It's not for kids, so make sure the kids don't watch it. But it's a good comedy joint. And I do have a Raw and Cut Clean too. Troy Rawlings Raw and Cut Clean. So if you want something clean, but I still talk about sex, love, and stuff, it is what it is. It's
And
adult.
I'm Yonder Harrison on Facebook and Yonder the Author on Instagram. And also, we'll have Treasure Blue again. He had an emergency, so I will have him sometime soon. What I wanted to do with this whole format of what we're doing is I always say this is a conversation with friends because I consider you both my friends, my brother and my sister, and my uncle. So thank you so much for having me. This is the first opening of Urban Centennial. I'm taking over for my brother Reggie for a minute. And thank you,
Centennial.
Reggie.
Everybody.
Urban
Sentinel.
Centennial. Thank you,
Sentinel.
Reggie, for trusting me with your product. And I will see you guys next Tuesday. Got a special guest next Tuesday with us. And thank you guys for having us. Same day, same time. Next Tuesday, 8 o'clock.
See you Tuesday at 8 o'clock, and we're getting ready to get on in here right now. So right now,
Thank you so much.
Bye.
See you later. Thanks.